MakingStarWars.net.
Hello, Internet. It's me, Jason Ward from MakingStarWars.net. And today I want to share the story from BestmanBulletin.com. The Last Jedi director Rian Johnson opened to making a Star Wars TV show, I wanted to say. So you could give Bestman a coffee if you want to support his channel, or not his channel, but his site. And you should, because he does a lot of hard work. It's been 5 years since the release of the critically acclaimed yet culturally divisive Star Wars The Last Jedi, and 5 years since the director of the flick, Rian Johnson, was announced to be helming a Star Wars trilogy. But that was separate from the Skywalker saga. However, there's been little, or more like no, movement on the trilogy since. In my opinion, that thing was announced because of some behind-the-scenes turmoil. And they were like, we need to get ahead of it. But anyways, various YouTubers and outlets have claimed over the years that the project has been canceled by Lucasfilm. They tend to have I don't know, like if there's no movement, it means it's dead. Or if they haven't heard anything, then it means whatever they want it to mean. And it doesn't necessarily mean that, which seems to be just the wishful thinking on their part. But this year, Johnson has mentioned multiple times, as has Lucasfilm president Kathleen Kennedy, that they plan on making the Johnson trilogy, but that it ultimately comes down to scheduling. 2 years after the release of Star Wars The Last Jedi, Lucasfilm have concluded the sequel trilogy with the divisive The Rise of Skywalker, though unlike Jedi, it wasn't received well by critics. Directed by J.J. Abrams, The Force Awakens, who co-wrote the film with Chris Terrio, Batman vs. Superman, Dawn of Justice. And that same year, Johnson released the critically and commercially successful Knives Out. Night and day filmmakers, I'd say. Following the conclusion of the sequel trilogy, Lucasfilm has announced a plethora of Star Wars films with various directors attached, with their next Star Wars film slated for release in December 2025. Johnson, on the other hand, struck a lucrative deal with Netflix to produce 2 Knives Out sequels, with the first, Glass Onion, a Knives Out mystery, gaining critical acclaim like its predecessor, and it's slated to hit the streaming service later this week. It took Johnson 3 years to produce the Knives Out sequel, and it'll likely take him another 3 to release the Glass Onion follow-up, meaning we probably won't see the third Knives Out mystery until 2025. The same year, Lucasfilm and Disney are slated to release the first Star Wars film since 2019's The Rise of Skywalker. Johnson has also been busy directing the television series Poker Face, which he also wrote. Poker Face is slated to, well, there was my mic, to release next month via Peacock, and isn't considered a limited series, meaning Johnson could write and direct follow-up series for the series. So anyways, seasons of the series. As you can tell, Johnson is quite busy these days, and his and Kennedy's excuse for scheduling is likely true given his workload. And yeah, that is true. Rian Johnson's been in demand this whole time, regardless of somebody's opinion of a Star Wars film, which I think was fantastic. In case anybody doesn't know, I actually love it. It's my favorite of the new films. The number of Star Wars films Lucasfilm are attempting to place and produce. Johnson, however, is still eager to work in a galaxy far, far away, and recently sat down with THR, where he enthusiastically revealed he'd do anything Star Wars when asked about his long overdue trilogy and the possibility of doing a Star Wars television series instead. Johnson followed up saying, "If I had an idea that I was excited about that worked better as a show than a movie, I'd do it that way. At the moment, we're in between making the next Benoit Blanc movie, I think that's how it's said, and thinking about Poker Face. I keep getting together with Kathy Kennedy and having conversations. Who knows? Making The Last Jedi was the best experience in my life, so I should be so lucky." So before we get ahead of ourselves here, I think it's important to note what he's actually saying. And that's that if he had an idea that would work better as a series, he would gladly do it as a series. That's good news for Disney Plus Star Wars fans, I guess. By the same measure, though, it doesn't mean his trilogy or his idea is something that would work better as a series and that he's willing to do his trilogy as a series. That's where things get a little bit dicey, I think, in terms of the reporting on this story. So clearly, Johnson, this is back to Bestman Bulletin. Clearly, Johnson still holds Star Wars close to his heart, despite the way he's been treated by certain Star Wars fans. Personally, I'd love to see Johnson's trilogy, but I'd be more than happy with the Looper filmmaker turning his attention to a Star Wars television series if that means we get to see Johnson tackle the franchise again. Not including Johnson's trilogy, there are 5 Star Wars films in various forms of development. The presumed next film is to come from Thor: Love and Thunder director Taika Waititi, though there's been growing momentum for a film being written by the leftovers Damon Lindelof, or Lindelost, as we call him around here. One of which will take the December 25 release date. Marvel Studios head Kevin Feige is set to produce a Star Wars film written by Michael Waldron Loki. Executive producer of Stranger Things and director of Free Guy, Sean Levy, is set to focus his efforts on a Star Wars film in 2025. And Wonder Woman 1984 director Patty Jenkins is still supposedly developing a Star Wars flick, Rogue Squadron, which was indefinitely delayed last year. And and also the TIE Fighter film that was apparently maybe supposed to be the sister film of that has also been canned by the sound of things. So I'm not so sure about that one, but I love to see Star Wars films, so I'm cool. I'm cool with whatever they want to do. But man, I'm excited for the prospect of Rian Johnson's series or trilogy, right? That sounds rad. But in totality, a Rian Johnson series would probably be the better option for Star Wars fans who love most of the stuff that comes out, because he's going to elevate Disney Plus content by a lot. I mean, like Andor in a different way. Also, I'm of the opinion that The Last Jedi could have been a Disney Plus series. That's not like, I don't mean like I think it's bad or it's like low rent or something like that. I just mean like you got people in a ship being chased. That could be done on Disney Plus. Canto Bite, that could be done on Disney Plus. The filming of Act 2, a lot of that was on stages and, Skellig Michael, but also on stages. So you could do that probably on Disney Plus as well. So it's not like there was, you get into the weirder place when you get into like Crate with the Battle of Crate there. But the general gist of the story beats could work on Disney Plus. So I think Ryan's a creative filmmaker who would be able to handle that well. So that's just me, though. Given the number of Star Wars films in various forms of development, I'd like to see Johnson tackle a Star Wars series, especially given it'll likely be away from the Skywalker saga, which would make a change for the series we've been receiving, including The Mandalorian, The Book of Boba Fett, Obi-Wan Kenobi, Andor. And those were set to see the future, such as Ahsoka and Lando. Ooh, that Lando one's not looking too good right now with the dude who plays Lando taking over more shows. So once again, everybody's busy. It's like we need to get successful people locked in who can't do anything but Star Wars. That's what we need. But anyways, you can read the rest of the article at bestmanbulletin.com. Check it out there. It's a good article. And watch us every day on the Making Star Wars show, and become a channel member if you want to support the channel. That is really appreciated. And if you're busy and you can't watch the show every day, it's a podcast, and you can get the link in the description. So everyone, thank you again. I'll see you guys later at 1 p.m. Pacific Standard Time for the Making Star Wars show.
It's the end of the show.
Come on, let's go. Hey!
It's the end of the show.
Come on, let's go. Hey!
It's the end of the show.
Come on, let's go. Hey!
You know you should go.
Come on, let's go.
It's not about spaceships.